There is a nerve in your body that the ancient masters mapped before Rome existed, before the printing press, before the microscope. They did not call it by its Latin name. They did not need to. They felt it. They trained it. They used it to outlive their enemies and outthink their students. And for 3,000 years, that knowledge was locked inside lineages most men today will never access. Modern medicine rediscovered this nerve roughly 30 years ago. They called it a breakthrough. The yogis called it Tuesday. Here is what they found. This single nerve, running from your brainstem to your gut, governs your heart rate, your inflammation levels, your immune response, your digestion, your mood, and the very speed at which your cells age and die. One nerve. And most men over 45 have already begun to lose their grip on it. Not because of age, because of something far more specific, far more reversible. The question is not whether this is happening to you. It is. The question is whether you are willing to do what the ancients did to stop it. Here is the enemy. His name is vagal tone degradation, and he has been quietly dismantling you for years. Every time your body fires a stress response, cortisol floods the bloodstream. That is well known. What is not discussed is what happens next. Chronic cortisol exposure suppresses the parasympathetic nervous system. It silences the branch of your nervous system responsible for repair, recovery, and cellular regeneration. This is not stress in the vague motivational sense. This is a measurable biological signal that tells your cells to stop maintaining themselves and start preparing for threat. Day after day, year after year, the result is low vagal tone. And low vagal tone is not a mood disorder. It is a biological state. Heart rate variability collapses. Telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA, shorten faster. Systemic inflammation rises. Your mitochondria slow their output. Your gut-brain axis degrades. You do not feel old because time passed. You feel old because your vagal tone dropped and no one told you how to raise it. The ancient masters knew this collapse by another name. They called it the withdrawal of prana, the life force retreating inward, away from the periphery, away from the organs, away from vitality itself. They saw it not as aging, but as abandonment. The body, ungoverned, abandons itself. Modern science confirms this. Every measurable marker of accelerated aging correlates with reduced vagal tone. This is the enemy. And he lives inside the nervous system you were never taught to train. 3,000 years ago, Vedic masters cataloged the winds of the body. Not metaphorical winds, functional forces. They named 5 primary pranas, directional currents of life energy that governed specific physiological systems. The one they watched most carefully was prana vayu, residing in the chest, governing the heart and the breath and the upward movement of vitality. They also described udana vayu, the ascending force moving through the throat and head, and samana vayu, the balancing current of the gut. In practice, these were not spiritual abstractions. They were the vagus nerve, mapped in sensation, trained through breath. The Taoist physicians of ancient China spoke of the river of life, a current running from the base of the skull through the core of the body, touching every organ it passed. They built entire medical systems around keeping this river flowing. They called its stagnation the root of all disease. Ayurvedic texts from 600 BCE describe specific breathing locks, called bandhas, designed to compress, stimulate, and reset the nerve channels of the torso. Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha. These were not poses. They were precise vagal reset techniques wrapped in the language of their time. What did these traditions share? The breath controls the nerve controls the body. The body controlled is the body reversed. Modern neuroscience in 2012 published landmark research confirming what these texts encoded millennia before. The ancients did not guess. They observed, They practiced, they transmitted, and then the transmission was interrupted, until now. In 1994, Dr. Stephen Porges published the polyvagal theory. It restructured how science